So, Kathleen, so good to speak with you today. I think maybe we should just get started with you kind of sharing a little bit about your story, so we can kind of get to know you, where you started, where you are now, everything.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me. It's really cool to be here. Like when you first start the course, you see these success meetings, you're like, oh, that's a goal for sure. So, um, yes. So check
And
that
you're
one off.
here.
I
Yeah.
know, it's really cool. So I started, I lost my job back last February, actually,
Oof.
right before COVID. So not even due to COVID, our company did restructuring and it
Whoa.
was see you later to all the marketing. So I was a regional marketing coordinator for like a natural grocery store. So I lost my job. Honestly, I was kind of relieved. Like I knew it wasn't, I knew that was going to be the thing that I needed to start the next journey and the next chapter. I didn't know what it was, but I knew it was time to do something for myself. So I was kind of like, I don't know, thinking on it. And then your ad came up. So of course
As
I
it does.
clicked. It does. And the perfect timing. So, I molded over for a few days and then signed up in February. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't tell my boyfriend. I didn't tell my family. I didn't want any negative feedback, which is probably not good. I probably should have been more open with my partner, but I knew
Well,
this is
it
what I need to do for
depends.
myself.
Yeah, it depends, I think. It depends on
Yeah,
like what they're like, if they have, because something that I see happen a lot actually is you get excited and you share your like dreams or whatever of any sort of
hmm
entrepreneurial venture with somebody who's not an entrepreneur, and they're immediately like meet you with
right.
fear-based stuff. So
Absolutely.
just
Yep. And that's, yeah. And I mean, that's what's happened on all my previous adventures. I always have these ideas, and then I'm like, guess what, family? This is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to be really rich and this is what's going to happen. And then, they shoot you down. You're like, well, shit. Okay, fine. Whatever. So I started the course and I was really rocking and rolling. I was really motivated. I got through it probably in a month. And then the pandemic
rapid
hit.
speed.
Yeah, I went really fast. Got my website up. Maybe that was a little bit later, but pandemic hit. And at the time we were living in my parents' house while we were renovating a house. So, and at that point I was like, okay, we got to get out of here. If we're all going to be like locked in together, like I love you, but it's time to go.
Yeah.
So we quickly moved into our house with not everything ready. And I don't know, I had a lot of just anxiety. I have a lot of past health issues and I just was kind of overwhelmed and I kind of got back into that rut. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to when they start something new, they're really excited. And then it just kind of gets pushed aside, So that's kind of what happened. And, I was overwhelmed with house stuff and just life. And I really didn't do anything with it. For probably, I don't know, 4 months or so. I mean, it was always on the back of my mind. Every day I would wake up and be like, I should be doing this. And I just could not get myself to do it.
Man. Yeah.
I even tried searching for other jobs, normal jobs, and I didn't get any, which I never had an issue getting a job in the past, but things were, weird because of COVID or whatever. So
Totally.
took that as my sign, just do it. So I finally got at it and got my first client probably last August. And slowly, the first month I think I made $200. But hey, I made money, so I kept going. Second month I doubled that, and then it just kept going. It just kept building, which if you keep going, it will keep building. So this year, let's see, in January I made $2,000. February I made $4,000. I'm a money person, so I'm just going to throw it out there. I think that you need to know what's going on.
People to know what's possible.
Yeah. I am very open about that. And then March I made $5,500. But I had actually invoiced, I think it was around $8,000 in March. but I brought in close to 6.
Yeah.
So then the next month I invoiced 10 and I brought in almost 8.
Nice.
And then, yeah, so really since then, it's been pretty consistent between 5 to 6,000 actually bringing in a month. And that was more than, you know, what I had set out to do in the beginning, surpassing what I was making monthly just to, you know,
what were
to
you
make more.
What were you like setting out in the beginning to earn?
In the beginning, so I was making like 51,000 at my previous job. And I think monthly I wanted to bring in like, yeah, okay, so I guess after taxes, I was only bringing in like 2,500 a month, I think,
Something like
with
that,
my old job, something like that. So I was trying to make, you know, at least over that 3,000, 4,000 would be great, but it quickly like kept going.
Double,
So I'm like,
almost.
yes,
Yeah, more than double. That's amazing. I love,
yeah.
so the thing that I love when people share their numbers openly like this is usually you see exponential growth. So you have that month where you earn $200 and you're like, I made money.
Yep.
I think this
Right?
might work actually, right?
Yeah.
And then you have the next month where it's like 400 and then it's like 800 and then it's like 16 and it just like keeps doubling. And that is such a common theme. But leading up until that, you know, you like have all these moments where you're like, does this work? Am I crazy? Should I tell people I'm doing this? They're definitely think I'm crazy. Right? So
Absolutely.
when did you share this with like your family? At what point and when were they all on board? Because I love that.
I shared it with my boyfriend. Honestly, I don't remember. Once I was halfway through the course, I think I didn't tell him what I spent or anything. I was just like, you know, I'm gonna try something new. You know, I'm gonna try to write for people and blah blah blah. And he was like, okay, no, okay. But now
what
he's
does he
like,
think now? Yeah.
Oh, he's super proud of me, which is really cool because, you know, he's like, I didn't believe you in the beginning. And now I'm like, okay, I tell everyone about what you're doing right now. Like this is super exciting. I'm super proud of you. So it's really cool. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, that's how I was when I started. Like when I was first earning money as copywriter, I was starting to tell everyone about it. I was like, stopping people on the street. Somebody, I just had a baby and I need to make extra cash. And I was like, oh my gosh, I know how to do it.
I know. You do feel that way.
Yeah.
For sure.
So let's jump over to some of the questions people submitted because there's some really awesome ones. The first one is what was the most helpful thing you did to give you confidence in going after your very first client? What did that mean?
For me, well, I knew that I wasn't going to get a client if I didn't try. So there's step one, you just have to do it. Like you got to get out of your comfort zone. But also I think that it's so easy to realize we think we don't know what we're talking about, but we actually do. I mean, you've provided so many tools and then obviously I do have a marketing background, so that helps some, but you know so much more than you think you know. So when you do have that first cold call or, you know, that first potential client call, it's important to realize it's just a conversation. And once you nail a conversation, like the art of having a conversation, I think that's like the key to successful sales because they're gonna want you, you know, I mean, obviously being prepared for that and what you know is helpful, but also keep in the back of your mind what you don't know, you can always figure it out. Like
right after that call, every call's a learning experience. Totally.
Yeah. So I think it's just knowing that you got this and you just got to do it. Get the first one out of the way and go. There's nothing like too big that you can't go after. Yeah. I think just go after it.
I totally agree. And obviously I say that, but it's so nice to hear somebody else say that.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing that I continue to hear feedback is people hop on that first call, absolutely terrified. And then they get off and they're like, wow, I know so much more than I realized, because by the time you get to that place in the course, you've actually learned a lot. So yeah. Oh, I love that. So the next question is many copywriters credit cold emails as their source of finding the right clients. And I actually want to add a caveat for anyone like watching this. That's actually specific to this course. So this isn't necessarily how like all copywriters, just want to throw that there. But how did you find your major clients?
So I actually, I mean, this may sound crazy, but I only sent about 40 cold call emails this entire journey. And I don't have any clients from cold emailing, but I know that if I would have continued, it's a numbers game, I would have, and I still actually plan on going back right now and doing some of that. But I actually got most of my clients from LinkedIn. Once I updated my LinkedIn profile to match my website, I went in every day and I just started connecting with like-minded people who I thought I would maybe want to write for. And once I did that, I mean, people reached out to me. At first I was like, I don't know why, like, this is great, but okay, you know? So that was I got all my major clients from LinkedIn. Another thing I did was I joined a local women's networking group, kind of local to my county. And it was nice to get out of the house every once in a while and just show up to a few meetings. And you would be amazed how many people, I mean, obviously everyone needs what we do. So keeping that in mind, but when you go somewhere like that, again, everyone needs what you do. So I did get some clients from there, but mainly LinkedIn was what worked for me.
Nice. Yeah, I love that. I love that there are different ways that we can bring on clients, and some work for some people better than others. And so I'm love hearing like your story, because it's super important for everybody to remember that it's important to make this process your own, right?
Right.
So I love that. So the next question is then, how did you pick your niche? Did it change along the way? And once you overcame all the challenges to get back into the course again, how many hours per week would you say you dedicated to it?
Yeah, I mean, so my niche, I knew from the beginning, just having past health issues, kind of holistic health and more functional medicine was more my wheelhouse, just from everything I've learned with my own journey over the years. So I was passionate about that. So that's what it's been. But I can tell you that it's definitely morphing. And I think this is what'll happen in everyone's business, unless you're just really, really good and really always want to do that. Because I'm learning, you know, I don't always love writing medical copy. So now I'm kind of at a point in my business where I'm really kind of slowing down to speed up. I want to hone in on, okay, what do I actually like now? You know, in the beginning, I took everything, honestly. Like I took automotive articles for an old coworker. So I think that not just pick something now, but like pick something that maybe you're kind of familiar with and think you could enjoy. And I think it's going to morph over time. So it's kind of changing. I'm still exploring. Honestly, I'm still exploring with what I want to do. How many hours was it to the course, or I have that written down? I think
they're asking about how long. I mean, if you could just speak to like how much time you dedicated it. Well, you said you went through it all in a month, but then when you came back to it, what did that look like? Also, maybe how many hours a week do you work in general?
Yeah.
You're earning what you're earning.
So when I first started the course, I didn't have a job, so that was helpful. And my daughter was in school at the time. So I was able to get through it. I probably blocked off a couple hours every day and did it. And then once I jumped back into the course, I think I probably like 15 hours a week of just because, you know, I had already gone mainly through the course. It was more just reaching out and trying to find those clients. So obviously, if you ramp that up, then you should be good. But now in my busiest months, I felt like I was working all the time. And here is where I want to get smarter in my business. But when I look back at that, I was probably actually only working, I don't know, 25 hours a week. And that was my own fault, really, because I'm really bad at procrastinating. And then I was dealing with the anxiety. So like I would start in the morning and then I would like, you know, get distracted and then I would come back to it. So it felt like I was working all day when really I just need to be better at time blocking. So,
oh my gosh. So, so important. That's actually a big theme in the group coaching and the mentorship program I'm doing, is actually
Yeah.
like limiting the amount of time you allow yourself to like sit down in front of your computer to work.
Right.
Because when you just sit there all day, we have a tendency to just kind of fill the time, not
Yeah.
be efficient with it. I mean, that'll be huge. Getting to a
Yeah.
place where like, you know, you've solved the main problem, which was having income, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now it is about making your business so that you can work smarter and not harder. And I loved when
Right.
you said slow down to speed up, because that is
Mm-hmm.
critical. And that is
Yep.
the next step after you start taking on like any and all clients you can get, because you're like, I just need the money and I'm
Right.
broke and I'm scared. And then you get to a place where you're like, okay, now I need to refine my processes. I need to
Yep.
say no to the clients who are not right for me. Yeah.
Yep. That's where I'm at.
Yeah. And then also, I really loved how you talked a little bit about clarifying your niche as you go, because I think people forget that when they're starting. They think they need to
Right.
have it all figured out. And that was my experience too. I just was like, health and wellness,
Right.
which is like, what does that mean? That's like everything. There's so much
Yep.
that can fit under that. And I had little like batches of clients that I reached out to see kind of like what I enjoyed, what stuck. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just such a nice thing that I love in copywriting, how you're saying, you know, as you go, you can kind of shift what you're doing to kind of match
Right.
what you're excited about doing. So maybe you get to a place where you don't want to write blogs anymore. That's pretty common.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, I'm just going to move into direct response copy because now I feel more confident in my client acquisition. So it's just,
Right.
there's so many ways to make it work.
Yep.
Yeah. So 25 hours a week, is that what you're working currently now?
Yeah, I would say that is what I'm currently doing right now.
And remind me again, the income range per month is about.
I would say it's like 5 to 6 on it. I'm kind of, like I said, I'm in that revamping phase. I mean, we went through COVID, then we're fortunately able to go on a vacation. So there was a good chunk of time that I needed to slow down. And now I'm back and I'm like, honestly, I don't know what next month looks like. And I'm kind of excited about that because it's giving me the opportunity to figure it out and refine. Well, like, yeah, refine it and remember why I got into this business, because I have control and I have the power to choose who I want to work with. But once you like realize there is an abundance of clients out there, then like you don't have to be so worried about it. And you truly realize that. And that's pretty cool. But
getting to a place where you're confident in your ability to bring on clients is like a beautiful place to be. Because then,
right.
You guys got sick, you had COVID, that's why it was
Mm-hmm.
canceled last month, and you took a vacation, but you're like, you've got that, like you seem so chill about it because you're like, I'm going to have less work next month, but like, I'm going to be able to find my clients, and it's going to give me time to like think about that and do it, because you have that confidence that you've built around like, if I want to ramp up work, I know exactly how to go about doing that.
Yeah.
And that is like, that's the goal. That's the goal.
Yes, absolutely. And it's doable.
Yes. So how does working only when you want to work for you? And what kind of copy are you usually writing? And where do you get the jobs? That's a lot of areas, but
so it's great, especially coming from a place of not always feeling well, the past 12 years of my life. So being able to rest when I need to, or, take my daughter to school in the morning, it's so nice to have that flexibility. I mean, obviously I think there are pros and cons, just if you are like me and you procrastinate and have anxiety sometimes, it's really refining your schedules to work for you. So yeah, I mean, it's great as long as you can stay disciplined, then it's been pretty awesome. What was the next question again?
Yeah, I know they're a little, okay. What kind of copy are you usually writing?
Okay. So mainly I've been writing blogs.
Mm-hmm.
I have a couple of supplement companies and I've been doing a lot of product descriptions. That was a big project for them that I'm almost done with. And then I write a lot of website copy. I have a client who found me through LinkedIn, who I guess they create websites for different health and wellness companies. So I've been writing a lot of their different website copy for clients. So that's mainly what it's been.
Yeah, that's a great relationship to have, working with web developers or designers, because they generally need copywriters and they have, you have complementary skill sets. So love that. Yeah. So in the beginning, before you had clients, what did your day-to-day client acquisition process look like? You kind of spoke to this, but if there's anything else you want to add.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also really important, and I know you talk about this a lot, is to think about who you already know. Because I had a lot of potential clients from just past work experience who I was able to reach out to, even if they didn't decide to work with me, just to put a little buzz in their ear. And then some of them have come back and decided to work with me. So, think about who you know. And then I connected with LinkedIn. I joined groups on Facebook, different entrepreneur groups on Facebook. I looked it on Indeed too. It didn't really work for me, but I would type in freelance jobs just to see what was out there and if they would be willing to, not hire you on as a W-2, or as a freelancer. Then, so there really are so many opportunities out there.
Totally.
And they'll come.
You even have
They will
people
come.
find clients on like Craigslist and stuff that stand out.
Yep.
There's just so many different ways to look out for clients. And I love when people mention to think about the people in your direct network, because we've had so many students who have like written for like their doctor. Their doctor, or like a vendor at their wedding, or like just so many people that you come into contact with on a daily basis has a business, or like know someone who has a business and can benefit from copy. It's kind of just like a very universally needed skill set. Yeah. So I love when people say that they really leverage their network first, because I think that often gets overlooked. But so do you have any tips on getting through the course with the chronic health issues? This is my main roadblock right now.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely relate. I think when you are going through those health issues, you typically know your limitations on what you can do and what's going to affect you. So I think it's just really listening to your inner voice and making sure you can hash out some time every day to just chip away at it a little bit at a time. Don't overwhelm yourself with thinking you have to get through it and know everything. Like, you will, because if you do that, you'll probably relapse and get worse. So don't over push yourself. If you're someone who wakes up already feeling crappy in the morning, and maybe later on in the day you have a little bit more energy, just find the right time during your day to fit in a little bit. And remember your why, because you probably came from a corporate job or something that you didn't have any of this availability or flexibility, and you just had to suck it up. So I think remembering why you're doing it, it'll happen. You just got to keep going, which is hard, but just kind of stay positive. Totally. If that is advice.
Yeah, no, it is. I think it's important to remember that like I've said this so many times, but like 30 minutes a day, I think, is so much a better use of your time than trying to hash out like 4 to 5 hours on like a Saturday or something. Like, I just think that is when people get worn out and get tired of it and feeling burnt out and discouraged. But if you're just chipping away at it, like little bit at a time, you're gonna get through it way more quickly than you realize, and you're gonna be up and running before you realize. And also, I want to say it's been surprising to me, because I didn't a surprising thing of like all of Write Your Way to Freedom is the number of people with like chronic health issues that have come to this course because of the flexibility and the freedom it gives you. And I didn't like foresee that, but it's become like quite a little bit of a community within the community. And so I don't know, I'm really glad that there's more flexibility for you guys to kind of navigate that, because that must be so tough to go have to go to work every day to not like,
Right.
and not be able to work with your energy, man, that's gotta be huge.
Yeah, no,
Um,
super thankful to have found this. So
yeah. All right, so this is the last question, and it's about how do you get over the slumps of being so dang tired of client outreach? I don't feel like this is going to go, they go into like cold email. I feel like cold emails haunt me. I don't feel like my clients are on LinkedIn. How do you get excited and not become desperate for clients?
So when I jumped back into things and was ready to take on clients, this is gonna sound cheesy and it's not for everyone, but I told the universe I was ready for some clients, and the universe gave me some clients. So
I'm there with you.
I really did some manifesting. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I think it is a huge part of like mindset. At least your mindset. You have to be positive and know that having an open mind and being ready to take on the clients, and they're going to come. You just got to keep pushing through and keep going. So just having that positive outlook on things, I mean, it changes your life in all areas, I believe. So remember why you're doing it, think positive, and then also I think I wrote down, in the beginning, I think it's okay to maybe try a few things outside of your niche a little bit. I don't know, if something comes your way. I took it because I was curious and I wanted to get some practice under my belt, and that may lead to a different opportunity of something that more aligns with what you're trying to do.
Yeah,
I don't know. You just got to keep going.
It's funny because I often like joke. My friend Emily, who I did Master Your Mindset with, she's much more in like the woo woo world, and I'm much more in like the science world, and we balance each other. But she's definitely like gotten me to a place where I'm like, I'm curious about like the manifesting, and I definitely incorporate it, and I actually see that as what like affirmations help you with without actually calling it that. And whether or not it like brings that energy in or it taps into your reticular activating system, so you're noticing opportunities more clearly and you're having just a better day because you feel like optimistic. I think all of it works like synergistically. And so I love that you spoke to that, because I think it is important, and people definitely have a tendency to skip over that work because they think it's too woo woo, even from the way I present it, which is not very and it's really like some of the most important stuff you can do. The other thing I wanted to speak to is, how do I not become desperate for clients? You know, you can try and remind yourself not to say yes to a situation that you can kind of sense is not right for you. But there is that pressure when you're first starting of wanting to make it work, wanting to earn an income from this. And I think sometimes actually it might be more helpful to just acknowledge that it's there and that it's not where you're always going to be. So even if you take on things outside of your niche, even if you take on projects that are a little bit lower paying than you'd like, you know, I mean, I did that. I had clients that I was like, this guy treats me like crap. I hate him. But I also need to eat. Like, so like that's where I started too. And I don't want to like sugarcoat everything and make it seem like there isn't an initial hustle phase, because there is. Just like when you're starting any new business. The great thing is though, you don't have to go to 4 years of college and end up in like tens of $1,000s worth of debt to make this a viable career. So it's important to remember that there is that initial hustle phase. It does feel a little daunting, and that's normal, I think. So anyway, I wanted to speak to that a little bit because I could feel when the cold emails haunt me, like laugh a little because I'm like, yeah, sometimes it does feel like that for sure.
It wasn't easy getting started to, you know, with those cold emails, it feels daunting. But I think once you realize you have the power to, this is your business. And once you do just kind of chip away at those things, in the future, you just got to keep looking forward to the future and the life that you want to have, and it'll make those daunting things a little bit easier because it's just something you have to go through to get there. But just have to keep going.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else that you would like to add, or you wanted to be sure that you mentioned in your story before we wrap up?
I mean, I think, I mean, we talked a lot about, you know, it is okay to say no to things. I know we just talked about the hustle, but there are those times when you can feel it's not right for you. Like there's been a few times where I knew that this client was going to want a super quick turnaround time because I've already written for him. And when I was doing that, I stressed myself out so much for this client. And I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I have a turnaround time. Like, be firm on it. Like, yeah, I can't be everything for everyone. And it's okay to say no to not take on a client or not take on a project if it doesn't feel right. But also know that there are those opportunities. There are companies who pay writers $10K plus a month for working 20 hours a week. So you just gotta whittle your way through the clients, and it's gonna happen because there have been a few opportunities like that. So yeah, I don't know,
just better at noticing it. Like as you work through it, it's a new process. You got to give yourself some grace that like this is a new thing for you. And as you start to move through it, it will become, you'll start to like know more quickly, like whether or not somebody's a good fit. You'll spot red flags more quickly. And once you build that client base, your tolerance for like crappy clients just goes way down. And you're like, I don't have to deal with this anymore.
Right.
So
you don't have to. And that's the beauty of it.
Totally.
Yeah.
So I love to always wrap up with kind of what would you say to yourself when you were first starting out? If you could go back and
yeah, when I was first starting out, I wish I would have kept my momentum, but I also realized that like it's okay to take setbacks, because there are always going to be setbacks. And I know for me and my health that I have to slow down sometimes to speed up. So I'm not necessarily upset with the journey that I took, but just to I don't know that it's going to work, and just to keep going. If you stop, that's the only way that you can fail with this, really. It's set up for you to succeed. So I don't know. I'm okay with what I did. I'm okay with it. So.
Yeah. No, that's good. Well, it was so wonderful speaking with you and hearing your story. I love when we talk with somebody who's been in it like a year and the chill factor. You're like, it works. Just keep doing it.
Yeah. You know, I'm going to take my advice after this and go find some more clients, but the right clients. I'm going to find the right clients. So, yeah, no, it's been awesome.
Well, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. I'm glad you guys are all feeling better. And again, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. It was awesome. And
thanks for having me.
See where it continues to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you and this whole community. So thank you so much for having me on. It was really cool. This whole community is really awesome and helpful. So I feel super blessed.
It's the best. I love you guys. All right. I'm sure I'll talk to you soon. Bye, Kathleen.
Sounds good. Bye.